Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and the Island of Misfit Toys is a pretty good film. It was very slow to begin with, and there are a few times here and there where I felt like the narrative dragged. Basically, the whole thing could be wrapped up in half the time, but it is sweet and I think worth persevering. This was released in 2001. It's directed by William R. Kowalczyk Jr. And this has a brilliant voice cast. To name just a few, we have Richard Dreyfuss, Jamie Lee Curtis, Rick Moranis, Kathleen Barr. The voice acting is top notch, absolutely as we would expect. The animation quality is not. It's very rough around the edges, it's very early 2000s, and it's not pleasant. But at the same time, I found that I stopped disliking the style as the story went on. I guess as I was able to concentrate more on what was happening and found that I was actually interested in the characters and the story, I kind of stopped paying attention to the animation style, if that makes sense. So if it's something that you've considered watching but don't like the style of it, again, I think it's worth persevering because it's not too bad. And it's a story about how Rudolph initially feels like a misfit. He feels like he's just a gimmick. He's there to entertain people with his nose so bright. But he gets to go to the opportunity to the island of misfit toys. He goes there on a dental visit, of all things, not what I was expecting. And it turns out that somebody is actually stealing all of the toys, including, of course, the toys that Santa's meant to be delivering. And he has to go on this journey to track down the evil toy taker, as our antagonist is called, with some various other characters to try and resolve this situation. In terms of animations that I've seen, I think it's a really unique concept. I think it's a really fun idea, and it actually gets really sentimental. And I'll talk about something that I found to be really moving with the antagonist, but it is a spoiler, so I'll talk about that in a moment with a spoiler warning. I love the Island of Misfit Toys. These are toys where there's been a defect during the manufacturing stage. I won't spoil it by giving away too many examples because for me that was part of the fun of wondering what kind of toys there would be, but I will mention one, just my personal favourite. And this is the piggy bank with no slot. So it doesn't work as a piggy bank, and she's such a gorgeous character. And interestingly, I actually really liked the animation design of that character. There are some bits of animation that are okay. I think the animation of Rudolph is pretty good, but there are times when I really don't love the animation style. But that piggy bank, I absolutely adored. I think the narrative develops generally quite well. As I said, there are times when it does feel quite slow, when I think we could have cut out quite a lot and really got this down to half the length. It's about an hour and 10 minutes, and I think we could have wrapped it up in 40 minutes, but nevertheless, it isn't too bad. And as I said, it actually got kind of emotional at one point. I'll talk about that in a second. It is quite festive. It does have a very Christmassy feel, a very kind of, childlike excitement about Santa Claus and the spirit of giving slash receiving gifts, I guess. And we have a lot of, red colours and a lot of snowy white. And of course, we have Rudolph's bright nose. So it definitely feels like a Christmas film, which is not always the case with so-called Christmas films, but this one definitely fits the criteria there. Would I recommend it? Yes, I would. I think it's a fun idea, generally well executed. It's not perfect, it is a little slow, so it's not ideal if you're looking for a film that's going to capture your attention for the entire duration, as I don't think it will. But in general, it's a very pleasant film to watch, and once I got used to the animation style, it wasn't too bad at all. So I'll discuss, well, big spoilers now. I'll discuss the ending, what happens with the evil toy taker, and the song that I found to be quite sentimental because there are some songs in this. The music is generally really good. So big spoilers from now. So it's revealed that the evil toy taker is actually a little teddy bear, and he is so cute. And he's actually, in his eyes, rescuing all of the toys from this fate because he feels like every toy will inevitably end up the way he did, shoved in a box in a cupboard and then ultimately sent out with the rubbish. And he ended up on a garbage heap. And the song he sings about the emotional journey he went through, it's so moving and so sweet and definitely gave us some brilliant character development for the evil toy taker, for this teddy bear. And it was a little bit emotional and just made me think of all those poor lonely toys that get cast aside when their children are too mature to play with them, and it was really sweet and really moving, and it was a decent bit of writing. It was very well done, so definitely works in the film's favor. If you haven't seen it, do check it out. I have now just spoiled the ending, but even so, I think it's worth watching if you're looking for a fun, festive, pretty decent film. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and the Island of Misfit Toys is a pretty good one to go with.